Hey, welcome back. First thing that we need is to set up a canvas element, and this is going to be where all of our magic is going to happen and what we're going to connect to using JavaScript. So once you've set that up, you can give it an ID, and there's a number of ways to access it. I'm going to give it an ID of canvas, so that way I can use it, accessing it by the ID in case I have more than one canvas element. Then going into the JavaScript, what we want to do is select that element, so we can use const. And this is where our canvas is going to sit, so we can call this canvas as well. Document, and you can use query selector, selecting it by the ID, so remember the hash and canvas. You can also select by ID, so a number of different ways to select the element. Let's do a quick refresh, and of course we don't see anything on the page quite yet, but just make sure that you are able to access the canvas using JavaScript. So once you select it as an object and type in that object name that's referencing the element, you should be able to hover over and see the element light up on the page. And there is a default size for canvas, and that's the one that's being shown right now. The next thing that we want to do so that we can set it up and have the ability to write to it. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to get the context of that element that we just created, so the canvas element, and we want to be able to draw to it. And this is where we can use the CTX variable, and then selecting the canvas element that we just created and we just selected, do get context. And what this will do is this will expose the element to HTML canvas element interface and give us the ability to do some really cool things. And we're going to select it as get context 2D. So once we've done that, that's it. We're ready to write to the canvas. So if we want to color that particular element green, we can select it using CTX, so that's where we're referencing the canvas object, and we can use fill style. So fill style is going to give us an option to fill the content of that element, and then we can just specify a color that we want to fill it. And when we refresh, we're not going to see anything quite yet, as we've just set the color that we want to fill it, but now we need to complete the fill action, and that's using fill rectangle, and it's expecting some parameters there. So this is where we want to start the fill for X and Y, and then how many units wide we want to go. So maybe we want to do 100 and 200 units high. So let's see what happens. So we do a refresh, and now we've got, starting at 10, 10, we've got 100 across, 200 deep on our canvas element. We can also change the fill style. So let's say we wanted blue, for instance. We can start this at 0, 0. This time, let's do a 50, 50 and see what that looks like. So we refresh it, and now we've got a little blue square on top of the red square, because we did the red square first. We've got a blue square on top of the red square, and it's as easy as that in order to draw on the canvas. And if you want to see the canvas, I'm going to use just regular JavaScript, setting a border style so that we can see where that canvas element is sitting. Let's set a border around it so you can see where the default positioning of the whole canvas is, and you can see it's starting there. So when we do 0, 0, that's the starting position of the blue square, whereas the 10, 10 is the starting position of the red square. So go ahead, try this out, create an element, call it canvas element, select it using JavaScript. You can add a border if you want so you can see where it's located. Then apply the context, get context 2D, and that's going to give you the ability to draw to it and draw a few rectangles, a few different color rectangles. And coming up next, I'll show you even more cool things you can do with Canvas.